You really need to work on your jealousy issues, my girlfriend said, after forcing me to delete all my social media while secretly stalking her exes. I stayed silent, but my next move would end everything she thought she controlled. I'm sitting here at 3 a.m. questioning everything about our 18-month relationship, and I need some outside perspective before I lose my mind. I 26M, just discovered my girlfriend Amy, 24F, has been doing exactly what she destroyed me for, except way worse. Amy and I have been together since summer 2022, living together for 8 months now. I thought we had something real. We talk about marriage, future plans, the whole thing. I'm a software developer, she works in marketing, pretty normal couple on the surface. But early in our relationship, like 3 months in, Amy absolutely lost her shit over me liking some photos on Instagram. Not even anything crazy, just double tapping some pictures from friends, maybe a few fitness accounts, normal stuff guys do without thinking. She completely broke down, crying about how disrespected she felt, how I was basically cheating, how she couldn't trust me if I was thirsting over other women online. I felt terrible. I didn't want to hurt her, so I apologized like crazy and deleted all my social media. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, everything. Haven't had any social media presence for over a year now because she said it would help her feel secure in our relationship. Since then, she's brought up my jealousy issues regularly. Anytime I express any discomfort about anything, her texting male coworkers late at night, going out drinking with friends, and not responding for hours, whatever she throws that Instagram thing back in my face. Fast forward to last night. We got into an argument because I mentioned feeling uncomfortable about her new friendship with some guy from her gym. She called me paranoid and jealous, same old script about how I need to deal with my trust issues. She was so upset she took an Ambien and passed out on the couch. Her phone was sitting there unlocked. I know it was wrong, but I was so tired of being called crazy that I looked. I needed to know if I really was losing my mind or if there was something to my gut feeling. What I found made me physically sick. I found text conversations from about 8 months ago, during a period when I was visiting my parents for 2 weeks. Screenshots she'd taken, conversations with her best friend Jessica about guys she used to hook up with. Here's the exact quote that destroyed me. "It's pretty funny I'm mad at him about liking photos when I literally stalk my exes on Instagram and save their pics Elmao. But whatever, he doesn't need to know that." There were dozens of messages like this. Her telling Jessica about how hot her ex-hookups looked in their recent posts. Screenshots she'd saved of shirtless pics from guys she used to fuck. Her admitting she still follows them on a private Instagram account I don't know about. But the worst part? She literally said, "I kind of regret not sleeping with Marcus one more time before getting serious with Mason. He got so much hotter after we stopped hooking up." Jessica encouraging all of this, calling me controlling and saying Amy deserves to look but not touch. Both of them laughing about how I deleted my social media while Amy is doing exactly what she crucified me for. I sat there reading this shit for 2 hours. I haven't slept. I can't eat. I keep staring at her acting normal this morning, making coffee and talking about our weekend plans like she didn't destroy my trust in the most hypocritical way possible. The evidence is right there on her phone. Screenshots of her own conversations admitting she's a hypocrite. Proof that she's been gaslighting me for over a year while secretly doing exactly what she punished me for. We're supposed to sign a new lease together next month. We've been talking about engagement. I thought I was the problem in our relationship, that I needed to be better, less jealous, more trusting. Turns out I was right to have concerns, but she made me feel crazy for having them. So Reddit, what do I do with this information? Do I confront her immediately? Do I gather more evidence first? Do I just pack my shit and leave without explanation? Part of me wants to see her face when she realizes I know everything. Part of me wants to just disappear and let her figure out why. Part of me still loves her and wonders if we can work through this somehow. But mostly I'm just angry. Angry that I've been apologizing for being human while she's been doing worse behind my back. Angry that I deleted my entire social media presence while she's stalking exes and saving their photos. Angry that I've been in therapy working on issues that were actually justified concerns. How do you even begin to address something like this? She's going to deny it, call it invasion of privacy, try to minimize it, or turn it back on me. That's what she always does. Reddit, am I crazy or is this as fucked up as it feels? What would you do if you found proof your partner was doing exactly what they destroyed you for? Update 1. Reddit, holy shit. Your responses to my original post literally changed my life. Over 3,000 comments, and the majority of you told me to confront Amy immediately, but some suggested gathering more evidence first. I decided to do both, and what I've discovered has been eye-opening and terrifying. The comments calling out Amy's gaslighting hit me hard. I kept rereading phrases like systematic manipulation and emotional abuse, thinking you guys were being dramatic, but the more I reflected, the more I realized you were right. I've been so deep in this relationship that I couldn't see the forest for the trees. I finally told my older brother Mike, 27M, everything. I was nervous because Amy always says he doesn't understand our relationship, but turns out he's been concerned for months. He said he and his girlfriend Emma have talked about how Amy treats me, and they've been wanting to say something but didn't know how. Mike shared his own story about a manipulative ex who used similar tactics, isolating him from friends, making him question his own perceptions, controlling his social media use. Hearing him describe it was like looking in a mirror. Emma, who I've known since college, was even more blunt. She said Amy has been slowly isolating me from our friend group and that everyone's noticed the change in my personality. I used to be confident and social, but I've become anxious and second-guessing myself constantly. That really fucked me up. I didn't realize how much I'd changed. Following some of your advice, I've been carefully documenting everything. I took screenshots of all Amy's hypocritical texts before confronting her about anything, but I also started paying attention to patterns I'd been ignoring. Amy still follows her exes on that private Instagram account. I found it by checking her following list when she left her phone open again. She's been liking their posts regularly, the same behavior she destroyed me for 15 months ago. But it gets worse. I found more conversations with Jessica where they mock my insecurity issues. Jessica literally said, "He's so brainwashed he deleted everything while you're over here saving Tyler's thirst traps Elmau." Tyler. That's the ex she said she regrets not sleeping with one more time. She's been actively following and engaging with a guy she wants to fuck while calling me jealous for having normal relationship concerns. Since my original post, Amy has become more controlling and paranoid. She keeps asking if I'm acting weird and demanding constant reassurance about our relationship. The irony is incredible. She's made several comments about me needing to work on my insecurity issues and suggested couples therapy. When I agreed to therapy, she seemed surprised, like she expected me to resist. She's also been going through my phone more often, which is hilarious considering what I found on hers. She found my conversations with Mike and Emma about relationship stuff and got upset that I was talking about our private business. When I pointed out that she discusses our relationship with Jessica constantly, she said it was different because Jessica is her best friend and gives good advice. The double standard is unreal. Emma helped me reach out to friends I'd lost touch with since dating Amy, turns out. Several of them noticed Amy's behavior early on, but figured I was happy so they didn't interfere. My friend Jake said Amy was always subtly critical of me in group settings, little comments about my clothes, my job, my social skills. He said it made everyone uncomfortable, but they didn't know how to address it. Another friend, Lisa, said Amy would monopolize conversations and steer them away from topics I was interested in. She'd also make plans for us without asking me first, then act like I was being difficult if I had other preferences. I'm starting to see how manipulative Amy's been from the beginning, not just about the social media thing. I've started individual therapy, which has been incredibly helpful. My therapist immediately identified Amy's behavior as problematic and helped me understand gaslighting tactics. She suggested I start rebuilding my sense of self before making any major relationship decisions. I've been journaling, exercising more, and reconnecting with hobbies Amy always dismissed as boring or time-consuming. I'm also quietly preparing for different scenarios. I've been moving important documents and sentimental items to Mike's place gradually. I've researched apartment options and started saving money separately. Here's where it gets interesting. Amy planned a weekend trip to visit her parents next month, and she's been pushing me to come. She says her mom really wants to see me and that it would be good for our relationship. I agreed to go, but now I'm wondering if this is my opportunity to see how she treats her family. Mike thinks Amy learned these manipulation tactics somewhere, and family dynamics might reveal a lot. Part of me is also tempted to confront her there, with witnesses around. I know some of you said that was too nuclear, but I'm tired of walking on eggshells. I want her family to see what kind of person their daughter really is. I found Amy's old diary last weekend when she asked me to grab something from her closet. I know I shouldn't have looked, but I couldn't help myself. There are entries from early in our relationship where she admits she probably overreacted about the Instagram thing, but says it worked to establish boundaries. She literally wrote about manipulating me on purpose. It wasn't an emotional reaction, it was a calculated move to control my behavior. There's also an entry about how she likes having a boyfriend who's completely devoted, and how she needs to make sure he doesn't get too confident or he might realize he can do better. Reading that destroyed something in me. She's been systematically breaking down my self-esteem to keep me dependent on her approval. The past week, Amy's been love-bombing me hard. Excessive affection, talking about our future, buying me gifts I didn't ask for. It's like she can sense I'm pulling away emotionally even though I've been acting normal. She suggested we start looking at engagement rings, which feels like desperation now that I understand her tactics. She's trying to lock me down before I realize what's happening. I'm done being the problem in this relationship. I'm done apologizing for having normal human emotions and concerns. I'm done letting her rewrite history to make me the villain. The confrontation is coming soon. I'm still deciding whether to do it at her parents' house or wait until we're home. Part of me wants witnesses so she can't gaslight me about what happened. I have a folder with every screenshot, every piece of evidence, every hypocritical moment documented. I'm ready to show her exactly what I know. The trip to her parents is in 2 weeks. I'm planning to confront her then with all the evidence in front of her family. Is this too extreme, or is it time Amy faced some consequences for her behavior? I'll update after the confrontation. She has no idea what's coming. Update 2. Update on the situation. Many of you said confronting Amy at her parents' house was too nuclear. You were absolutely right, and I'm glad I listened. But something even better happened that I never could have planned. We went to visit Amy's family last weekend. I spent the entire time observing instead of confronting, and it was the best decision I could have made. Amy treats her family exactly the same way she treats me. Subtle manipulation, gaslighting, making herself the victim in every story. Her younger sister rolled her eyes constantly when Amy wasn't looking. Her dad seemed to just tune her out completely. But the real eye-opener was her mom. Saturday night, Amy went to bed early and her mom pulled me aside for coffee. She asked, "Mason, is everything okay between you two? You seem different than usual." When I asked what she meant, she said I seemed more confident and less anxious than previous visits. She said she'd been worried about me because I always looked stressed when I was with Amy. Her own mother basically confirmed that Amy's behavior toward me is abnormal. She didn't say it directly, but the implication was clear. Thanks to your advice about being prepared, I've been getting my ducks in a row quietly. I found a studio apartment across town and put down a deposit. It's small but it's mine, and I can afford it easily on my salary alone. I've been gradually moving important stuff to Mike's place: documents, sentimental items, my good electronics. Amy hasn't noticed because she's been so focused on love bombing me and planning our future. I've also been building my financial independence. Separated our shared streaming accounts, moved my money to a different bank, updated my address with work and important services. If I need to disappear quickly, I'm ready. Since we got back from her parents, Amy has been in full panic mode. She can sense I'm different even though I've been acting normal on the surface. She's been excessive with the affection, constant texting when I'm at work, surprise lunches, expensive gifts I didn't ask for. Last week she bought me a $300 watch just because she loves me. It feels manipulative now that I understand her tactics. She's also ramped up the future planning, talking about engagement rings constantly, showing me wedding venues on Pinterest, discussing baby names. It's like she's trying to trap me with the illusion of progress. Most concerning, she suggested couples therapy again, but this time she was insistent. "I really think we should work on our communication issues together," she said. The irony of her wanting to work on communication while hiding her hypocritical behavior is unreal. Here's where everything changed. Wednesday night, I was in the shower and left my phone on the nightstand. When I came out, Amy was sitting on the bed with my phone in her hands, looking furious. "What the fuck is this, Mason?" she said, holding up my text conversation with Mike and Emma. She'd gone through my entire phone, which is hilarious considering she lost her mind when I looked at hers. But I'd been careful not to mention the evidence I found, so all she saw were my conversations about feeling manipulated and needing support. "You've been talking shit about me to your brother and Emma for weeks," she screamed. "How dare you discuss our private relationship with other people?" I stayed calm and pointed out that she discusses our relationship with Jessica constantly, often in ways that mock me. She said it was completely different because Jessica gives good advice and doesn't turn her against me like Mike supposedly does. The double standard was so blatant I almost started laughing. Here she was, furious about me seeking support from family, while she's been systematically undermining me with her best friend for over a year. "Jessica cares about our relationship and wants us to work," Amy yelled. "Mike just wants you to break up with me because he's never liked me." When I asked why she thought Mike didn't like her, she couldn't give a real answer. Just said he was jealous of our relationship and trying to poison me against her. The projection was incredible. She was describing exactly what she'd been doing to me, isolating me from friends, making me question my perceptions, turning me against my own support system. That's when it hit me. This was my chance. Not a confrontation at her parents' house, but something even better. "You know what, Amy? You're right. We do need couples therapy. Let's book a session this week." Her anger immediately shifted to relief. She probably thinks she's won, that therapy will validate all her complaints about me and force me to admit I'm the problem. She has no fucking idea what I'm planning to bring to that session. I've spent the past few days preparing a comprehensive presentation of evidence. Screenshots of her hypocritical texts about stalking exes while calling me jealous. Photos of her diary entries admitting she manipulated me on purpose. Documentation of her ongoing Instagram behavior with Tyler and other exes. I'm going to present everything in front of a neutral professional who specializes in relationship dynamics. No gaslighting, no manipulation, no rewriting history. Just facts and evidence. Mike and Emma are going to be nearby for support afterward. I've already arranged to move the rest of my stuff this weekend while Amy's at work. My individual therapist thinks this approach is brilliant. Amy won't be able to use her usual tactics with a professional present who understands manipulation. She can't storm out or flip the script when there's documentation of everything. The therapist also pointed out that Amy's reaction to me having support shows how threatened she is by anyone who might help me see clearly. That's classic abuser behavior, isolating the victim from their support system. She's been almost manic since I agreed to couples therapy, constantly talking about how it's going to fix our communication problems and help me work through my trust issues. She genuinely believes the therapist will side with her and validate all her complaints about me. She's so confident in her victim narrative that she doesn't see the trap she's walking into. Yesterday she said, "I'm just excited for you to hear from a professional that your jealousy and insecurity are the real problems in our relationship." I just smiled and said, "I'm excited too." Our therapy appointment is Thursday afternoon. Amy has no idea I've been in individual therapy for weeks, no idea about the evidence I've gathered, no idea that I've already moved out mentally and logistically. She thinks she's going to therapy to fix her problematic boyfriend. Instead, she's about to be confronted with documented proof of her own hypocrisy and manipulation in front of a professional witness. I'm done being the villain in her story. Time for her to face the truth about who she really is. I'll update after the session. This time there won't be any gaslighting or rewriting history, just truth, evidence, and consequences. Update 3, Reddit, it's over. Amy's manipulation game is completely destroyed and I'm free. Thursday afternoon, 2 p.m. Amy was practically bouncing with excitement on the drive there, talking about how the therapist was going to help me understand my issues and work on my jealousy problems. Dr. Martinez seemed professional and neutral. Amy immediately launched into her prepared speech about my trust issues and how I invade her privacy and get jealous over nothing. She brought up the Instagram incident from 15 months ago like it happened yesterday. "Mason has serious insecurity problems," Amy said confidently. "He deleted all his social media because he can't handle me having male friends or a social life. He goes through my phone and accuses me of things that aren't happening." Dr. Martinez listened patiently, then turned to me. "Mason, how do you respond to these concerns?" That's when I pulled out the folder. "I'd like to present some evidence that might provide context for this situation," I said calmly. Amy's face went white. She clearly wasn't expecting this. I handed Dr. Martinez copies of everything. Screenshots of Amy's texts admitting she was hypocritical about the Instagram situation. Her conversations laughing about stalking exes while calling me jealous. Photos of her diary entries where she admits to manipulating me on purpose. Amy has been doing exactly what she punished me for, but worse, I explained. She made me delete all social media for liking photos, while she was actively stalking her exes and saving their pictures. She's been gaslighting me for over a year. Dr. Martinez read through everything silently. Amy tried to interrupt several times, but the therapist asked her to wait. The most devastating piece was Amy's diary entry where she wrote about establishing control and keeping me from getting too confident. Dr. Martinez spent extra time on that one. When Dr. Martinez finished reading, Amy completely lost it. "This is insane. He violated my privacy. You can't use stolen information against me," she screamed. Dr. Martinez stayed calm. "Amy, invasion of privacy is concerning, but the content of these messages suggests a pattern of behavior that's relevant to your relationship dynamics." Amy then tried every manipulation tactic in the book. She started crying, saying I was twisting everything and taking her private thoughts out of context. When that didn't work, she got angry and accused me of setting her up and planning this ambush. "You've been planning to leave me this whole time," she yelled. "You never even tried to work on our relationship." The irony was incredible. She was mad at me for planning to leave while presenting evidence that she'd been systematically manipulating me to stay. This is where everything validated what I'd been feeling for months. "Amy, these messages and diary entries suggest deliberate emotional manipulation," Dr. Martinez said directly. "Gaslighting someone about their legitimate concerns while engaging in the exact behavior you're criticizing is psychologically harmful." She explained that making me delete social media while secretly stalking exes was controlling behavior designed to isolate and destabilize your partner's sense of reality. Amy tried to argue that it was different because she wasn't actually cheating. Dr. Martinez shut that down immediately. "The issue isn't whether you physically cheated. It's the double standard and the systematic undermining of Mason's perceptions and self-worth." Realizing the therapist wasn't buying her victim narrative, Amy switched to bargaining mode. She suddenly became the reformed girlfriend who was ready to change. "Okay, fine, maybe I was wrong about some things, but we can fix this. Mason, I love you. We can work through this together." She promised to delete her secret Instagram, cut contact with the exes, be completely transparent. All the things she should have done 15 months ago instead of making me feel crazy. Dr. Martinez asked me how I felt about Amy's offers. "I don't trust her anymore," I said. "This wasn't a mistake or a misunderstanding. She deliberately manipulated me for over a year. She wrote in her diary about keeping me insecure on purpose." "How do you come back from that?" That's when I told them both that I'd already moved out. "I've been preparing for this conversation for weeks," I explained. "My stuff is already at my new apartment. I'm not trying to fix this relationship, I'm ending it." Amy's face went through pure shock, denial, anger, and back to tears in about 30 seconds. "You can't just leave. We live together. What about our lease? What about everything we've built?" I reminded her that everything we'd built was based on her lies and manipulation. The lease was in my name only, and she had 30 days to find somewhere else to live. Amy completely broke down, started sobbing about how she never meant to hurt me and how she just made some mistakes. Begged me to come home and talk about this like adults. Dr. Martinez had to end the session early because Amy became hysterical. As we left, Amy grabbed my arm and tried to force me to drive her home. "I'm not leaving with you," I said. "Mike is picking me up." That's when she realized I'd planned everything. Her support system was her manipulative best friend Jessica. My support system was my brother, my childhood friend, and a therapist who'd helped me see clearly. Within hours, Amy was blowing up my phone, Mike's phone, Emma's phone, even my parents'. She tried every angle: anger, tears, promises to change, threats to hurt herself. When I didn't respond, she posted on social media about how I'd ambushed her in therapy and destroyed her trust. She tried to paint herself as the victim of my calculated manipulation. The problem? Several of our mutual friends had seen my evidence by then. Mike and Emma had been sharing the truth about Amy's behavior with people who asked. Her victim narrative fell apart quickly. Her own sister reached out to apologize after learning what really happened. Amy had to move back in with her parents because she couldn't afford the rent alone. She'd been completely financially dependent on me without contributing anything to household expenses. She also lost several friendships when people realized she'd been lying about our relationship problems. Turns out, when you have a pattern of manipulation, people start questioning everything you've said. The relief was immediate. I hadn't realized how much emotional energy I'd been spending walking on eggshells and second-guessing myself. I reconnected with friends I'd lost touch with, started posting on social media again, just normal stuff, but it felt liberating after 15 months of digital isolation. Most importantly, I learned to trust my instincts again. All those times I felt something was wrong, I was right. Amy had trained me to ignore my own perceptions. 6 months later, I'm in a completely different headspace. I've been casually dating, taking things slow, learning what healthy relationship dynamics look like. I met someone through Emma, a woman named Sarah who's also been through manipulative relationships. We're taking things very slowly, but the difference is night and day. Equal standards, mutual respect, no walking on eggshells. Sarah appreciates that I'm thoughtful and attentive. She doesn't see my caring nature as something to exploit or my concerns as character flaws to fix. Last month, Amy tried to contact me through a mutual friend. Apparently, she's been to therapy and realized her mistakes. She wanted to apologize and get closure. I declined. Some bridges burn completely, and that's okay. The friend told me Amy has been struggling with subsequent relationships because her manipulation tactics don't work once people recognize them. She's apparently complained that guys these days are too sensitive and don't appreciate her honest communication. The lack of self-awareness is stunning, but it's not my problem anymore. To anyone in a similar situation, document everything, trust your gut, build a support system, and remember, if someone loves you, they won't systematically tear down your self-worth while doing the exact things they punish you for. The confrontation was satisfying, but learning to value myself was everything. Thank you for helping me find my backbone when I needed it most.